Good morning. This is episode 10, weather information. We're going to talk about interpreting these coded weather reports that we can receive on the internet. And of course, will be on the written examination for part 107. So, we've already talked briefly about METARs and TAFs. METARs are weather reports, specifically for typically at these automated stations. They can be modified if there's a control tower or control tower operator or an air traffic controller at an airport can modify them. But typically they're just the automated reports just published by every minute or so. They're recording the weather, but the METARs are only published once an hour, usually at 55, somewhere around just slightly before the hour. And they're in a specific code, and that's what we're going to get into. TAFs, terminal area forecasts, are forecasts. So the forecasters, wherever they are, they sit down, they look at the TAFs, they look at the METARs, and they look at the overall weather picture, satellite photos, radar imagery, pilot reports, and they look at all those and all the METARs throughout the country, and they come up with terminal area forecast. This is for a specific airport, 5-mile diameter around the airport. This is what we think the weather is going to be like. We're happy to be in Griffin, so we have an airport very close that has METARs, but it does not have a TAF. It did not have a terminal area forecast, but it does have area forecast, and they're coded FA, area forecast, and that's for whole regions of the country. So in the same way that TAFs are assembled, then there's another team of forecasters that say, okay, for this whole general area, so they'll have to be a little less specific, but it's still coded in a similar way. So those are the three different things right now that we want to look at. There's a couple other forecasts that are not regular. They're not published regularly. That's a SIGMET, significant meteorological information forecast. The weather forecasters see something significant out there as far as the weather. It'll be something that's potentially hazardous to all aircraft, airliners, light airplanes, drones, obviously balloons and everything else. So these are things that are not associated with a thunderstorm. There'd be some kind of reduced visibility. Maybe it's dust storms. It could be volcanic ash. They're good for 4 hours unless it's related to a hurricane, in which case it's good for 6 hours. But at any rate, it's not a scheduled forecast. Then we have AirMETs, which are Airmen's Meteorological Information. So this is a forecast that's sent out if they see something that may affect smaller aircraft, private aircraft perhaps, and drones. Something that's significant. Maybe not life-threatening, but a reduced visibility. Also, it's good for 6 hours, by the way, and it's for a particular forecast region. Something that has potential to be hazardous, but not quite hazardous yet. Then we have WSTs, which are convective significant weather meteorological information. Again, forecasts that are sent out. It's a convective SIGMET is another term for it, and it's related to thunderstorms, convection, right? Convective SIGMET. So definitely they forecast warning all pilots of a significant convective issue. Thunderstorms is what they're saying. Severe thunderstorms with winds, surface winds greater than 50 knots. Hail at the surface greater than or equal to 3/4 inch in diameter, or tornadoes. They could be any of those things. So they're giving us a heads up for that. 50 knots winds, greater than 50 knot winds, tornado, hail. Oh yeah, hail. Greater than, what do you say, 3/4 inch diameter. That's fairly large. Well, it's about about like that size. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, those are the things that are for a WST or a convective. Segment. So those are some additional kinds of forecasts that are out there. Okay. And so we're about to go into interpreting these METARs first and then weather forecast. But of course, we do have the option to go to this website to find these things. That's where you find them. You go to 1-800-weatherbrief.com and you can find these coded reports if you want to know, and that gives you enough. Now you also have the option, as you are aware, hopefully, that you can dial that phone number, 1-800-weather or WXbrief, weather brief, and talk to somebody, and he can interpret it for you, or she. They'll just want to know who you are, where you are, and what in the world you want to do. In other words, you're flying your drone over South Lake Mall or something like that. Okay? But in the case you want to interpret it yourself, or if you want to be prepared to take the written test, you'll need to think through how to interpret them. You should have this sheet. It's also in the module. I think it's in the module, so you'll be able to find it. Or you can take a screenshot of this. There's 2 pages. This page here just gives you some of the codes that help you understand what some of the codes are, and also gives you an order for forecast in the top here. See, it says right up there, key to forecast, TAFs, and aviation routine weather reports, key to both TAFs and METAR. So I guess I don't need to be really talking. You can probably read this and figure it out yourself, but I'm going to talk anyway because I get paid to talk. Okay? All right, so let's go through some examples here. Here's ECP. I'm going to have to scoot up just a little bit closer here. And with my little green pen, I'm going to, this is ECP. Oh, that's a code for the airport. K is continental United States, just tells you that. ECP, well, it doesn't look like anything. But this is a Panama City airport. It's a new airport built in the middle of the swamp. And that's the only letters they had left to identify it for. But the forecast, for this is a METAR, so it's a weather report on the 15th. So they put the date up there. They don't have to put the month because comes out every hour. And so they don't have to put a date. It's on the 15th, but it does tell you when this weather report was pulled out at 1953. 1953 Zulu. Now, we're in Griffin, Georgia, so it's you have to subtract 5 hours from that. If you're in Panama City, I think that's Central Standard Time. It'd be different, but let's just do this, okay? So you subtract it from that, and the conversion is this thing was published at 2:53, right? 14:53 is 2:53 local time. So today at 2:53, we're about to fly, and it's 3:15 right now on your watch. It's 3:15, so we know that this is pretty current. This is pretty current. This is what's happened. It's a report of something that's happened very recently. All right, and then just the next code section is the wind 110 at 4 knots. So you divide it right in the middle between the 110 and 4 knots. That's the wind. Visibility 7 miles. All right, VCTS. You go back to that sheet and you can find VC is generally the term for vicinity, and TS is the term for thunderstorms. So they're just saying there's thunderstorms in the area right now. Somehow this automated machine detects, it must have the ability to perhaps to detect lightning strikes or something. So it's telling you that there's thunderstorm in the area. Here's the cloud conditions. Broken clouds they leave zeros out. Remember, 2,800 feet. Then it's broken at 12,000 feet, way up there. Now, the question is, how close can we come to the clouds as a drone pilot? We must stay 500 feet below. So yeah, we're fine. Not going to be a problem. Then it gives you the temperature and the dew point. They're pretty close together, but still, the visibility is good, 7 miles. Then altimeter setting 2993. That's what we need to determine what the density altitude is on this particular day. We need the temperature. which is 24, and we need the altimeter setting to find out what pressure altitude is. Remember, of course, that they leave the decimal point out. They are expensive. Decimal points are expensive according to the FAA, so they leave that out, but you're supposed to put a decimal point between 29 and 93. Then we have another section which is remarks. So far, this is the body of the report here. That's all that good stuff right there on the top, and then we get remarks. The A2 tells you what kind of weather machine some of this was produced, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But remarks are often, there's a control tower in Panama City. Remarks are often a remark that is added by the control tower operator, the air traffic controller. He says he's observing that there was a wind shift about at 1855. That was, and the weather report is published at 1953. So about an hour ago, a little less than an hour ago, the wind shifted. Interesting. That may be of use to someone. He's also said, hey, I can see the lightning distant, all quadrants. Okay, all quadrants just means all directions. So he's up there in the tower, he looks around and says, man, there's lightning over there, there's lightning over there, oh, there's lightning back there. I better tell people, but there's a lot of lightning around there, which sort of indicates there's thunderstorms in the area. So people that are airplanes that are planning on coming to visit would want to know that. Also, he said, hey, at 43 minutes past the hour, so 1943, rain ended. R-A-E. Rain ended. R-A is rain and E is ended. He could have said rain began. R-A-B. But he's just telling you rain ended at 43 past the hour. So it was raining a little while ago. The runway's wet. Maybe get your umbrella out. I don't, those kind of things. And he observed thunderstorm towards the east at 47. Okay, and sea level pressure over here on this side, it's sea level pressure, PO5, and a bunch of coded letters, which doesn't really worry me too much. Definitely not on test item. Carry on. All right, here's Griffin. A6A2 on the 15th at 1953, auto. Okay, what he's saying here is this is only an automatic report from some kind of a ASOS or AWOS. We would be able to find that out if we looked it up, what kind of machine, which of those they were, but it's automated weather report. Nobody has touched this. It's come right from the machine. And then over here where it says AO2, I said I was going to get back to that. It says same AO2. AO2, that tells you, if you care to know, it tells you each one of those designators, AO2, AO3, whatever, tells you the difference, whether or not it can detect the difference between rain and snow or rain and sleet, or it has a discriminator to tell you what kind of precipitation. Looking at the temperature, I don't think on this particular report snow is possible. Okay, back up. Let's go to the wind. Remember, we look at it this way, 300 degrees. It's from 300 degrees, true, at 9 knots, gusting, G is gusting to 16 knots. Oh, it's a windy day today. It's also saying the wind is 290 variable to 020. So the wind is clocking around. Wind's back and forth and sort of just not very steady. I would suspect that the cold front is very close to approaching the airport and the winds are flipping back and forth. But I may be wrong. This is summer, though. Summer detected by the fact that the temperature is 31 degrees. That's why I'm assuming it's summer. But back up. Visibility 10 miles, clear skies, no clouds. Temperature 31, dew point 16. Altimeter A29.92. Remarks, what kind of machine it is. Simple, right? Those are easy to interpret. Naples. Okay, here's the Naples. APF is Naples, 1853, 260 at 8. I'm skipping fast because I'm making a point here. 10-mile visibility, few clouds at 2200, 2200, 30 degrees, 24, altimeter 30001. Okay, remarks. AO2, that's the kind of automated machine there is. And again, he hasn't said auto. There's no auto here, so he's the controller there is a controller that says lightning distant to the south. Okay, cool. And he wants more money. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not sure what the dollar sign is for, but you can look that up if you're curious. All right, here's P. So we're talking about something somewhere different. We're talking about Alaska now. Anchorage, Alaska, same thing on the 15th, 1953, 305 knots, 10-mile clear skies, 14 degrees. It's a little chilly up there. 15 degrees is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. 14C is 59 degrees centigrade, so it's 58 degrees Fahrenheit, probably something like that. 2.8, altimeter 2993. Remarks, sea level pressure, AO2, nothing really to see there. Here's San Juan, Puerto Rico, with the T in front of it. Time, 1856, wind 080 at 18, gusting to 23, 9 miles visibility. Statute miles, by the way, that's what the SM means on all of these. A few clouds at 2,100 feet. Okay, let's talk about the cloud layers. Few means just a few, just a couple of clouds up there at that, and that's how high they are, 2,100 feet. Clear means there's no clouds, obviously. Where is it? Okay, on the top here where we got ECP again. Broken means it's 50% to 75% of cloud coverage. Overcast is 100% of the clouds covered. And I don't see, yeah, scattered. Okay, here it is. Few. Scattered is the next one down here at San Juan, scattered at 3,000. So it's few, scattered, broken, and overcast, or those different types of cloud layers. Scattered. So and then scattered at 6,000. 31 degrees, 24, altimeter 3005, remarks, sea level pressure. And there's another comment out here. Somebody added this, haze, all quadrants. So he looks out. This is very typical Caribbean weather, but he's looking around and says, hey, it's pretty hazy out there. I better tell people that. One more. AFO is some place in Montana or somewhere out far out west. Auto, again, a machine only, nothing else. It does say remarks, but it's just telling you what kind of machine it is. 210 at 14, gusting to 24 knots, 10-mile clear skies, 30 degrees with a dew point of 0. A large gap, so it's a very dry day. Remember, dew point's sort of a measure of how much moisture is in the air, so it's saying it's a very dry day, which is, okay, Montana. Very dry. Okay, so wow, I've gone through this fast. But like all of aviation, much of it is your curiosity, how much you're willing to work at learning this stuff. So, okay, so let's go to TAFs. Okay, and this is the other side of that sheet. And it gives an example up here of a TAF. And it makes this nice caution. Make sure that you check the date and time of the TAF, right? If you get it wrong, then you'd be looking for something totally wrong. And it also gives an example of a METAR. All right. And by the way, in the testing supplement that I sent home for you, that gives the actual example of the test question. So the test question says, refer to figure X, Y, Z. What does that TAF say? You know, so if you go through that testing supplement and you understand everything about what's in the testing supplement about TAFs and METARs, you can interpret them without a problem, then it makes the test easier. And what we have here is forecast explanation about the different kinds. It's doing basically what I was doing. This whole section here is doing what I'm doing right now, basically explaining all these different things. So if you have issues, you can do it on your own. And in fact, you can turn the video on now if you want to do the study, or you can listen to me drone on for some examples. Your choice. Okay, so here's ECP again. That's the identifier, obviously. And on the 15th, he said these guys got together and they looked at all the weather information, the METARs, the radar reports, the satellite, the guys in the space station gave their report. I mean, there's balloons they sent up to find out what the upper air winds were. They know where all the major weather systems are. So this guy, all these guys, it may just been one guy, but it may be several guys that are checking each other, guys or gals. The computer's gone through, they sent this information, all this information to a supercomputer, and it pumps out information, and they go back and they double check to make sure, stupid in, stupid out. They don't, that's possible that somebody made a mistake. So they're double checking it and saying, okay, they're not saying snow in July in Griffin, but they're, just making sure there's no errors. They published this thing at that time, 1736. But what they're doing is they're publishing for a period starting on the 15th, at 1800. This whole forecast is from the 15th at 1800, that's to the 16th at 1800. So this is a 24-hour period forecast. Okay, so that's a 24-hour period. They're not all 24, some of them are longer, but that's what they decided. They said, okay, during this period, between on the 15th at 1800 to the 16th on 1800, and this is the body of the forecast, so I want to make sure you understand that's the body of the forecast. They're saying that the wind is going to tend to be out of the south at 10 knots, 180 at 10. P is plus 6 mile visibility, so they're saying the visibility should be good. But in the vicinity of, this is a TAF, remember it's for a 5-mile diameter of the ECP airport. They're saying there'll be in the vicinity thunderstorms. So VCTS is thunderstorms, and if you look on that piece of paper, VC says vicinity. It's okay. During this whole forecast period, they're going to be thunderstorms in the area, and we also think that the clouds will be scattered at 5,000. CB is a kind of cloud. It's cumulonimbus clouds. They're the puffy, built-up clouds, may or may not contain rain or produce rain. Then they say, okay, during this period, temporarily, from time to time, it may, on the 15th, from 1900 to the 15th at 2300. So that's 4-hour period starting at the 1900 and going to 2300. There's a 4-hour period where we think there's going to be a 4-mile visibility, thunderstorms with rain, TSRA. TS is thunderstorm, RA rain, clouds broken at 5,000, alts with CBs, and clouds broken at 8,000. Okay, get it? So weather's going to be like this, but then, but for a 4-hour period, during that period, the weather's going to get a little worse because a thunderstorm's going to come moving through, and that's going to affect the weather. So pay attention. So that's the forecast. Okay, so what's all this stuff? They're saying that from on the 16th at 1 o'clock, the the wind's going to be 250 at 8, P6, right? More than 6 mile visibility, VCSH, I'm sorry, vicinity showers, SH is showers, you can look it up yourself. Scattered at 1,800 feet, ooh, that's a little bit lower, but still we can fly. We had to be 500 feet below the clouds, so we're good. Except for the rain showers is not good for a electrically powered machine. And 6,000. So there's a forecast period on the 16th, starting at 1 o'clock, like that. That's what they think is going to happen. Now, you sort of see a pattern here. As they go further out in the future, they're getting a little more vague about what's going to happen. Well, naturally, yeah, it's the characteristic of a forecast is the further out you look, the less accurate it's going to be. And that's okay. That's, they take a lot of flack for their accuracy, but that's because sometimes they try to forecast long times. Well, you've seen 5-day forecasts, right? And you sort of chuckle because taking a chance. All right, now they say the next one is from on the 16th at 0300 Zulu. This is all Greenwich Universal Time, right? 250 at 6, plus 6 mile visibility broken at 10,000 feet. And then on the 16th, at 1,500 feet, we think this is way down the road. We're thinking it's going to be out of the west, 280 at 6 knots, basically out of the west. Still good visibility, more than 6 miles, and 3,000 feet scattered. All right, so we have the body, and then we have these periods here. So questions will come up on the exam about there'll be an example where the weather gets worse way out here in the distant future, and they'll say, well, when will the weather get worse so you might want to go flying? That kind of question. All right, here's Naples. I'm not sure there's anything really new to see on this one. The body of the report is a little bit shorter. That's the body. These are the forecast periods, 2100. On the 15th, 2100, this is what it's going to be like. And then on the 16th at 1 o'clock, it's going to be like this. Oh, I know what I wanted to point out. It's on the 15th at 1900 to the 16th at 1800. That's a 23-hour forecast. Okay, so they're different periods. They can be different periods. Then we went to Alaska, body. Oh, now, okay, this is Alaska, so on the 15th at 1800 to the 16th at 2400. So that's 24 plus 4, 28 hours. Oh, plus 6, 24 plus 6. Yeah, that's a 30-hour forecast. Ugh, I can't add. 30-hour forecast. All right, so, they could be different things. Oh, okay, one other thing I want to point it out. So that's the body, this whole section here, then these forecasts here, and then there's a forecast here that says on the 16th, 1800, 150 at 15, gusting at 25, more than 6 mile visibility, RA, which is rain, but the minus. That's interesting. You may have already seen it already, and you could probably take a guess. That means light rain showers. As opposed to a plus, if there was a plus sign, there would be heavy rain. Light showers could be anything up to just a misting, although there is a code for mist, so it's just light rain. San Juan, nothing to see here either. 18, so it's a 24-hour period. Gusty winds, vicinity showers. Nothing there. Tallahassee, I put this in there because we have something different. Again, we have from at 1900 to 1800, so we have a 23-hour period forecast. 6 minutes tempo. Okay, there's a tempo. So this is still the body, which includes the tempo. Temporarily between 1900 and 2300. Again, a 4-hour period here, where they think that the wind is going to be gusty. Right? So before, most of the period, it's just 300 at 10. Now they say, oh, it's going to get gusty, and there's going to be reduced visibility, and there's going to be a thunderstorm with rain showers during that period. They're being very specific because this is a fairly, it's not a far distant thing, because if you notice the body of the whole forecast, the main body says from 1900 to the next day 1800. Well, they're saying at 1900, at the beginning of this forecast period, this is what's going to be happening. So for that 4-hour period, that's at the very beginning of the forecast. But after the 4-hour period starts, then it's going to get better. This is a forecast, again, in the future from 2300, and even during that period, they can add a tempo. So during that little forecast period in the future, there's a tempo of between 1523 and 1603 of thunderstorms. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm available for questions, whatever. You can study on your own. Curiosity is the key here. And of course, and I do on this episode, I do have a test that'll show whether or not you sort of understand this. Only 10 questions, but there's a couple of them there that'll help you to practice the art of interpreting these codes.